How you doing, people? This is a wee short video about two things that's keeping my attention this morning. Firstly, somebody sent me a video of Nigel Farage, right? I mentioned him in the last video, and he was explaining how Keir Starmer and the entity known as Labour government is trying to manipulate the voting system. It's my understanding he's trying to get things in place for 16 and 17-year-olds to vote, on the basis that I think he thinks that they're going to vote for him, right? The concerning point here is, right, I think you've got to stay school at 18 now, I don't know. He says that as well, right? So I don't know, because I don't pay attention to that side of it, because I've got more important things to deal with. The fact of the matter is, these young people, there's a lot of smart young people out there that know the score. But to me, it's a ploy of desperation, because Nigel Farage is gaining traction in the direction to be maybe possibly the corporate name next Prime Minister, the fictitious name, right? Now, when I mention Nigel Farage, it's not because I don't like the guy. I just don't trust him the same as every other politician in the system. What the interesting point was when he says that when they go to vote, he states that they've got to produce their bank card. So the question that people have to pay attention to here is, why would you have to produce your bank card? What relevance is that for a man or woman, son or daughter to vote? What is that going to do when, if as Nigel Farage says, your 40's not on it, so why would they want your bank card? Are they going to take your details? Is this another way of extracting control and entrapping people? Well, there's no law requires a man or woman to vote. There is no law or crime in law for a man or woman not to vote if they don't wish to do so. That is their choice, freedom of choice, right? A man or woman cannot be forced to vote, neither can a son or daughter. And this is where people are getting confused. They tell you that if you don't vote, you get £1,000 fine. Well, some years ago, I took on the manager up in Glasgow Council and phoned her and asked her when she was coming to collect her £1,000. And she told me that, what are you talking about? I said, well, you're saying that if an individual does not vote, you could be facing £1,000 fine. So who's coming to collect £1,000? And if you're going to come, see how you can't get it, because you won't be getting it. So who's coming? Who's coming to collect? And she just didn't know what to say, and she cut the call short, people. So these people, as I keep telling you, are paid liars. Now, for all of the young people that watch my videos, I don't know how many watch it, but what I would say to you, don't be deceived by Keir Starmer, Reeves or Rayner. They're tyrants at the highest level. They are giving power for you young people to vote, is to deceive you to vote for them, because you think that they're going to be good for the young generation. You see what they do to the generations now, including the young generation. They're penalising everybody. There's no services. They're just corrupt tyrants, right? They need to be removed from power. And what I would say, right, I don't want to say this, but I'm going to say it. When it comes to any man or woman, son or daughter that's going to vote, you have to vote with strategy. You see what's happening with the tyrants and the entity known as Labour government. So what you have to do is vote elsewhere to cut the power down in the so-called tyrants government. We cannot allow them to get any further with what they're doing. We have to stop these tyrants in their track. Right? That's a fact. Because they're pushing an agenda, WEF, WHO, United Nations. We cannot have that. It's wrong. Our people are suffering as it is. And if this agenda gets passed through, as I said in the last video, you think it's bad now, just watch this space. Now there's another point I want to explain here. It's just a short video, people. I'm not going to go on with this, right? This morning I was going out with my wee dog, and there was a guy trying to get in the entrance of my building. He had a yellow visor vest thing on. When he opened the door, I seen him on at Glasgow City Council. And I says to him, where are you going? He says, I'm going in here to put food bins. And I was like, what do you mean? He says, containers, wee bins, containers for to put your waste food. And I looked across at the van, and I swear to God, people, these containers wasn't the size of tuppence. A waste of money that could be better spent on helping the people within the community, right? So I says to him, well, you'll not be putting any of my property. And he went, what do you mean? I says, I don't consent for that or any of these to be put in this building. It's a waste of money, and whoever's promoting this nonsense should be sacked. It's a waste of money. I says, my property I own outright, and the council, as you call council, has no authority over private property, and therefore I don't consent to them being put in here. So the guy turned around to me and says, you don't want them? I says, I don't consent and I don't want them, and you'll not be putting them at any of my property. The guy says, okay, fine, and walked away. Now, I went out and closed the closed door after me, people, right? The point being in this point here, this scenario, I'm sorry I didn't have my camera, I wasn't expecting somebody to try and get my clothes earlier this morning, right? When these people come round your buildings, the premises or whatever you want to call them, and they put bins down or offer stuff, it's an offer, right? That's all it is, an offer. You do not have to accept, because no man or woman representing the dead legal entity, council, that's dead speak, it has no life, can force you to take anything. What they're doing, when you let people just put stuff at your door, there's a presumption that you've consented, and that's how they steal your consent and try and claim authority over that individual. Like the word resident, person, citizen, all relates to the legal system, legal society. When you fill in their forms, when they ask you to fill in their forms, you're giving consent, they're stealing your consent. They don't give you full disclosure of the implications of what you're filling in. They don't tell you the backlash that comes with it after you fill in. They steal your consent, right? That's how this system works, this legal system. They steal your consent. It's like when I was at the court a couple of weeks ago for a stupid fine. The guy came out of the court and says to me, do you want to fill this form in? It was to put my name in all capital letters and boxes and fill my address, my date of birth, and whatever else. I don't know what the rest of the stuff was because I never paid attention, but I know the basics. And I says to him, I don't consent. Is there a law requires me to fill that? And he says, no. I says, well, I don't consent. He walked away with it. Didn't need to fill in, right? You people have to really pay attention to what you've been told, right? Especially with somebody like myself that knows the game. They're stealing your consent every angle that you can think of, right? Like, if you're pulled up with a constable and they're going to charge you with a stupid offence, an infraction of a rule, and they say at the end, do you understand the charge? 99% people would turn around and say, I understand. But what the people don't realise is when you say you understand, you're standing under his or her authority for that private corporation. Everything is corporate, people. Nothing is sovereign, right? It's like, I've heard the terminology yesterday in a video I was watching, members of the public. When did you sign up a membership to the public? Did you get a membership card for this? Membership of the public? No, you didn't, right? That is you getting dragged in as a citizen and a person to their legal society, legal system, right? Legalese word trickery, people, is being used. The words that you think that you read on paper has a different meaning to what they really mean. And you get trapped. It's like the four corner rule, there's nothing in that, right? When you fill in forms in black ink, all capital names, you're dead. That's what's on gravestones, people. That alone should tell you enough, right? I just want to bring these two wee points up so people know that I'm still on the game. But we cannot allow Keir Starmer and the rest of these tyrants within that Westminster Parliament to manipulate democracy, right? I'm going to do a video shortly on democracy and the illusion of democracy, and we'll see if we can get you to pay attention to this, because it's going to be very serious information that you have to pay attention to, And if you ignore it, God help you. Anyway, people, I just wanted to bring these 2 points up. If you don't rebut something, it stands. It's like the 12 presumptions in law in their courts. If you go in their courts, or statutory courts, corporate places of business, it's bar gill rules. They make the rules, and if they stand unrebutted, they stand as a fact, and you are bound by their rules because you never rebutted them at the very start. That's another way to get consent and trap you in their corrupt system. As I keep saying, there's only one way forward. A one people government. Get rid of the politicians and shut the legal system down. That's the only way forward, people. We get control, then we can do what we have to do for the landmass of Scotland, England, Ireland and Wales, for the people. Help the elderly, help the sick, stop the deprivation and poverty, and it can be done. The problem is, these corporations don't want to do it because they're too busy milking the people for money, putting them into deprivation and poverty deliberately and causing harm, loss and injury to families, including sons and daughters that's been raped, abused, murdered and trafficked. And that needs to stop as well with a serious attitude. It needs to stop with immediate effect and without delay. None of this mob that work in this corporate system care about the people. There is no empathy about the people. And the sooner people realise that, stand up and be counted, then we can stop this in its fucking tracks. Okay, people? Please share this video far and wide. It's not really a major issue in this video, right? But I'm just trying to explain what happened with somebody that was trying to put something for the entity and council into the building, and when I removed consent, they went away and left it at that. And it's just to explain how you're tricked into giving consent, right? Because it's all rules, people, regulations. As I say, civil law, contract law, and everything based on presumption and assumption. Anyway, people, thanks for taking time to watch this video. It's a bit sooner than what I normally do a video, but these 2 points came to my attention this morning. And what I'm saying is people need to really start paying attention. Research, educate yourself, learn and know the truth. Know what you've been told. Lies with the media. They're as I said, the spreaders of the virus, and the government is the virus. Anyway, people, thanks for letting me be heard. Thanks for watching this video. Please share this far and wide. And I hope these 2 wee points come to your attention and you start paying attention, because they're important, although they're minute. But they're important points to remember how kier Starmer's trying to manipulate the system and how you're losing consent. That was all I wanted to put up, people. Anyway, these people have a lovely day. Take care and be safe. There'll be another video coming up shortly, and information will be mind-blowing. Okay, people? As I says, I had to deal with my own stuff recently. I've dealt with it for the time being until something else arises. But that's me back on the ball. Take care, people. Be safe and speak soon. Bye-bye.